Hello, my name is Jackie Kirkup. Today is Wednesday, April the 9th, 2025. This is Spotlight on Souris. I have with me here Darry Jackson. Welcome, Darryl.
Thank you. Appreciate you asking me.
Yeah, well, we're excited to learn about this King Charles III Coronation Medal that you recently received.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive. Congratulations.
It was certainly out of the blue. I had no idea it was coming, but I think behind the scenes my son was involved
Well,
in getting it going.
Yeah.
And then our member of parliament at the time presented it to me, back a month or so ago. Yeah.
well, I know your son and a lot of Souris. I gotta rephrase that. Your son and the community is very proud to have you, Darryl, as part of our community. And
Very good.
thank you for all these amazing things you've done over the years. I'm just gonna read a little bit here about the medal. So the Coronation Medal was created to mark the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III, which took place on May the 6th, 2023. It is the first Canadian commemorative medal to mark a coronation. The Office of the Secretary to the Governor-General is responsible for administrating the King Charles III Coronation Medal program. The medal was awarded to 30,000 deserving individuals. To be eligible for this honor, a person must have made a significant contribution to Canada or to a particular province, territory, region of or community in Canada, or attained an outstanding achievement abroad that brings credit to Canada. We have the beautiful medal here that you brought with us to see. It's just wonderful. I know it's something that perhaps you might be able to wear on a suit sometimes, but you made mention you might frame it.
I might just frame it. I got one a few years ago from the Premier, and it was to do with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and I had it framed, and I might just do the same thing with this.
Yeah.
But so far I haven't got around to that yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would look very nice. Just prior to us coming onto the camera, Darryl, you had mentioned that there were 30 recipients in the Brandon Souris riding that received the
Yes.
same medal.
Yeah, it makes mention of over 30,000 in Canada.
Canada, yes.
So I think every riding, and there's 338 of them, all got 30.
Okay.
And then the MP the MP of the day then had to decide
Right.
who were the deserving ones, I guess.
Yeah, wow, that's just amazing. Darryl has brought along his very impressive resume and a list of current community organizations that he's still involved with. I know a number of them are, the 35-year plus range that Darryl has been contributing his expertise to. So, Darryl, do you want to share with us the current organizations that you're currently serving on?
Certainly. I'm going to start off with the Elks Lodge. I've been a member for over 35 years. I don't know exactly, but it's definitely 35 years. And our organization has done a lot for the town over the years. People think of the playground in the park, but we have contributed to various organizations over the years who have needed money to, whether it's daycare or whatever it might be, and probably to the tune of over $300,000
Wow,
that the Elks Group have put up to various
that's
projects.
amazing.
Yeah, that's an important one, and it's lasted a long time.
Yes, it has.
The Medical Staff Recruitment Committee, that one just came up, almost exactly 3 years ago. And in that point in time, Dr. Cram came to council, and they were down to 2 doctors, and he said, we just can't navigate with 2 doctors. You're going to have to do something. So we put together a committee. Pretty much the same crew have stuck with us for 3 years, and we've been very successful. We've brought in 2 doctors and a nurse practitioner. There's more to come. There's another doctor will be here late summer. So, we've kind of expanded it. To begin with, it started out just being doctor.
Right.
Now we've kind of said, okay, we're kind of getting that looked after. What about nurses or lab techs? They come and go and so on. And so we're we're willing and ready to expand into any of those areas whenever we might need to.
That's great, and so awesome to have the success that you've,
Yeah, we
have had, and will continue to have.
and considering the issues that other towns have had, like Carberry or Melita and so on, we feel very fortunate. In some ways, being close enough to Brandon works out.
Yes.
Sometimes the partner will work in Brandon and the doctor will work in Surras, or vice versa.
Right.
So, it's worked out good for us. Tough on retailers, being so close to the big city.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But I think it's worked out good for us.
Yeah, awesome. Good news.
The Parks and Recreation is another one I've been involved with for 5 years. I'm currently a board member of that. We are advisory board to the council. We look after the complex here where we're sitting. Victoria Park, the pool, the campground, and any other green spaces we look after in the summertime. So it's quite a valuable function, I believe.
Absolutely, and a lot of things to take care of.
Yes, and we've got to give credit to Carol Williams, our manager, who does a bang-up job
Yeah, she certainly
on
does.
that. Avalon Theater Board, I don't remember exactly when I started with that, but it'll be at least 10 years, if not longer. Debbie Butler asked me to sit in on them, and so we look after the affairs of the local theater. And since COVID, I don't know what happened to the movie houses, but they haven't seemed to come up with as good a movies maybe as they used to. But we're getting a lot more rentals of that place for birthday parties and functions of other sorts like business organizations. So we're trying to keep the doors open using that as a means. Until we see some better movies come back, I don't know whether I'm being too picky, but we just aren't getting the people sitting in the seats the way we used to.
Right.
Anyway, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so great that there are other, like the Arts Council, and I know the school's going to come do their play there. And it's nice to see the theater being used.
I'm glad you mentioned the Art Council because they do try. They have 5 events during the year, and they usually try to have 2 or even 3 at the theater. So that really helps.
Yes.
And they've been helpful in us acquiring certain grants for lighting and the stage and that kind of thing.
Yeah, lots of improvements have been happening in the theater. It's so nice to see the, upgraded seats, certainly more comfortable and,
spacious, lots of leg room.
Absolutely. And just even, I know the Arts Council, like making dressing rooms, for when they bring in these particular.
That's right. The green room, they call them in the back.
I'm not too technical in my arts world,
Artsy,
but, definitely lots of improvements to the theater, which is awesome to keep help keep the doors open.
Absolutely. That's our goal. Then the 2 foundations, the Surras Glenwood Community Foundation. I've been a member 10 plus years and chairman for the last 6. And then also Health District Foundation. I've also been a member of it for 10 plus years. And that's more specific. It looks after donations to the Surras and Hartney medical facilities that the RHA doesn't feel are totally necessary and won't fund. But we have money, and we get money from various donations to help out in some of those things that they should have.
Right.
But the RAG doesn't think they're important enough.
Right.
The Community Foundation, we donate, you're on that committee.
I sure am.
Donate to all kinds of things every year, plus I believe 4 bursaries to the high school grad every year.
Yes.
So it's a very involved group. We've got a great bunch. I think we're up to 12 members on that board.
Yes,
so we've
we
got
are.
a great group of lots of different ages and men and women. So it's really worthwhile. And then the last thing, the 7th one that I'm currently working on, been asked to be the chairman of Ministry and Personnel Committee at the Church, St. Paul's United Church. So I'm just getting my feet wet with that one, but it's coming along okay.
Well, with
And,
your knowledge on how to run a meeting and those kinds of things, I'm sure it'll be no time. You'll know what you're doing over
and
there.
it's an interesting time for St. Paul's United because we have formed a coalition with the St. Luke's Anglican Church,
Right.
whose membership was dwindling. We had the building, they had the minister.
Yes.
And so we've come together in an organization, we call it SUASM, and I think that stands for Sirs United Anglican something ministry. I don't know what the second S even stands for.
I can't help you, Darryl.
No.
I should know, but I can't help you.
Right. So anyway, that's the current things I do.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Well,
to keep me out of trouble.
I think, yeah. Are you ever home?
Well, my wife still works 2 days a week, so she's gone and I can do some of this stuff. Or if I have to get an agenda ready for a meeting, I've got time to do that on the
Perfect.
computer, whatever.
Oh goodness, that's awesome.
Yep.
Darryl also has another an impressive list of other committees that he's worked on over the years. Do you want to touch base on a few that you were a part of?
Sure. Going back to the flood, I guess, is a real important one. The premier of the day was Greg Selinger, and he asked me to sit on a flood review provincial task force, which took about a year and a half, lots of meetings in Winnipeg, and there was it was an interesting group of people that were lined up. Myself and the Reeve of Portage La Prairie were, of course, directly involved, but a lot of other technical people on the board, like involved in flooding issues and agriculture and infrastructure. It was a very interesting group. And at the end of it all, he presented me with that medal. And that was the Queen still at that point. Now, what was her Diamond Jubilee medal? So. Anyway.
Yeah, and Darryl's got the King and the Queen medals,
Yeah.
which that is just really neat.
An interesting thing to note, and you've probably heard the term over the years of Elizabeth's reign, was Elizabeth R. was how she signed her name.
Okay.
And that was Elizabeth Regina. That's Regina is Latin for female, I guess.
Okay.
So when I was getting this one, I noticed it's CR. So I said to Larry, what would that mean? Regina wouldn't make any sense for Charles.
Right.
No, it's Charles Rex, because Rex is Latin for king.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of information.
Yeah, that's just the reason that it's on there that way.
Just back to when we're talking about the flood here, Darryl, there is also another medal that you brought along with you that had to do with the flood that I think, you should be very proud of, and I think the community should know about it.
I am quite proud of this medal. This was given to me by the commanding officer at Shiloh for the Princess Patricia's Light Infantry, who came over for 2.5 days and really took over from some very tired and worn out sandbaggers and kind of finished the job. And of course, then the water receded and so on. But that's the medal I received from him. And it's not something that anybody would expect to get, but I'm very proud to have received it from him. He's gone now. I don't even know where he was transferred to, but it's certainly something worth keeping.
Absolutely.
And then also, and this came along partway through my days as mayor of Surres, from the Surres Glenwood Fire and Rescue Volunteer Department. And they gave me this medal. Whoops. It's got the Surres Glenwood logo on the one side, and then the axes representing the fire department on the other side. And that was just in appreciation, Chris Cooling said, for the work I'd done in support of them over the years. Now, I can't take credit for the new fire hall. That was done by Jack Denbo, my predecessor. But we have made sure they got as much help as council could give them on equipment and so on.
Yes.
And they do a lot of good fundraising too, of course.
Absolutely, they do.
But anyway, those two I'm quite proud of, and There wasn't much fanfare about those, and I'm not one to brag about stuff
Well,
like
I
this.
know you're not that, Daryl.
But this is a good chance for people to see that, it was appreciated what we were able to do.
Right. Some of the other awards here, I have that in 2017, Daryl received the Canada 150 Brandon Surras Service Medallion. And then in 2004, Pfizer, I think, I'm saying that
Yep.
correctly. I'm not sure if I'm going to say this other word correctly. Bowl of Hygeia Award for Outstanding Civic Leadership.
Yeah, that's a pharmacy one.
Okay.
So you have to be a pharmacist in good standing and have done a lot of community work.
Right. Well,
And over the years, different ones in the local area, like Ralph Whitfield won it previous to me.
okay.
Jack Houston from Boissevain and Jerry Morrow-Meletta, different ones have won it from our area.
Yes, impressive list.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
On that particular award.
For sure.
2001, Daryl received the Lieutenant Governor's Make a Difference Community Service Award. And then in 1995, he received the Surras Glenwood Chamber of Commerce Volunteer Award. So, yeah, amazing resume you have here, Daryl. It's quite something to see.
Well, it's just, if you value your community at all, and I do, and I love this community, and whether I'm always considered the mayor, or even on council, to be more of a job. I was on lots of committees with it too, but it was more of a job. You got paid. It wasn't big salary or anything, but you got paid for that. But a lot of these other things, it's just something you want to do to keep the community flourishing. That's
You're right.
the key.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need volunteers, and we'll continue to need volunteers.
Yeah.
Because we're all getting a little bit older and a little slower step, and so on and so forth.
And that is a thing that the next or the younger few generations, lots of them. I know I was there at one time. Kids to run around and hockey and school and things like that. There wasn't that extra time, but I'm starting to see some of that age group starting to really step
Sure.
up into
As
some
their
things.
kids get old enough
Yes.
to kind of look after themselves,
Yep.
then they can give back to their community.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that. It's
It's
happening.
coming. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I
it's
like
very-
to see that. That's great.
Yeah, me too. What else do you think, Daryl? Is there any other things on some community work or anything that you feel?
Well, I could just go back to a couple of real old time things.
Wow.
Back in the 80s, we wanted a weekend that was oriented to the river and based on the river. So we called it the Great Surras River Raft Race.
Oh, yes.
And that ran for about 7 or 8 years, and then it ran out of steam, more or less. But people would build their own raft, and there was a course they had to navigate down. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun putting it together, and a lot of fun being involved on a raft too, I presume. That was one, and then another one I believe we started about 94, which is still going on today, is Scarecrow Days
Oh, yes.
in the fall, in the end of September. And that was started in 94. If your viewers remember, stores weren't open on Sundays. And
no.
it was Surras Scarecrow Days and Open Sunday.
Ah.
And the restaurants would just be packed. I remember Anna Swanepoel was running the restaurant at the hotel.
Right.
She would get the beverage room there, and it would just be packed with
Wow.
people eating
Yeah.
supper that Sunday evening.
Now that you say that, I remember going into the beverage room.
Right.
And thinking to myself, I'm not old
Not
enough
old
to
enough
be
to be
in
there.
here, but it was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
But yeah, I do remember
And of
that
course,
now.
once the province opened every town and city up in business up to being open on Sunday, that part of it died. But the
Right.
Scarecrow Days has carried on.
It has.
And we've got some good people that continue to run
You bet.
that.
Yeah. Well, the viewers will know we just had Loretta on, and we talked a little bit about
Oh,
Scarecrow
good.
Days.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I'm very glad to see it keep going.
Yeah.
It's great.
yeah, it's awesome,
Yeah.
fun. Well, Daryl, it's been a pleasure to have you as always when we've had times together
Sure.
on Spotlight on Souris. I'm going to congratulate you on behalf of the entire community of Souris on this wonderful and an amazing award you received, and just of all of your accomplishments.
Well, I thank you very much, and I'm happy to, whenever I've got something to add, give me a call, or if you think I can be helpful to fill in 15 or 20 minutes, I'm glad to do so.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Good.
Excellent. Thank you, Darryl. This has been Spotlight on Souris for Wednesday, April the 9th, 2025.